Let's get back to the similarities between air, food, and water, and love. Since we teach human beings to become self-sufficient in regard to food and water by the time they're adults, they no longer continue to look to be fed by others. Eating with someone is different than being fed by someone. The primary reason adults continue to look to others for love is because we don't have the concept of love as life-sustaining nourishment. Our culture never makes a conscious effort to teach our children or adults how to become self-sufficient, meaning loving themselves, like we do with air, food, and water. Chances are, no matter how much you were loved, you weren't actively, consciously taught how to become self-sufficient, loving yourself. The imprint on our brain from childhood is that loving energy only comes from our environment. First from our parents, then family, friends. And this would explain to a large degree why we're so anxious about finding relationships that supply this loving sustenance. And we often stay in conditional, unloving relationships full of hurt. For a hungry person, even the crumbs from the table can feel like salvation. Now, as you can imagine, this new knowledge of love as nourishment has serious implications for how we must conduct ourselves with ourselves and others. This is much more than simply an idea that love is nourishment, that a mother's love is needed for a child. It implies that we must love ourselves and others and do it unconditionally. There are people who ask me if these ideas were simply my hypothesis or if there's any scientific evidence to support them. Almost 30 years after I developed the theory that love is nourishment, researchers have now begun to investigate love as energy, and in 1913 published findings that basically confirmed the theory that love actually nourishes us. So my message is, you need to start learning how to love yourself and others unconditionally. The reason for that is simple. Unloving conditional behaviors are very painful. They create resentment and work covertly to actually undermine your relationships. If you're interested in having close, nurturing relationships, you have to commit to becoming unconditionally loving person that you need others to be with you. On our website, thdc.org, you can download the lists of behaviors that generate loving, nourishing energy and a list of behaviors that cause pain and anger, which most often are reciprocated in kind. Now that you know that love is nourishment, in the next segment of What is Love, I will discuss the difference between romantic energy and nourishing energy, followed by a segment that clarifies the meanings of conditional versus unconditional and explains why only unconditional love works.